Hello viewers, welcome to Energy Talk. When we mention the word energy, it is as resource. But in Bangladesh, when we talk about energy, the next word comes in our mind is crisis. Currently in Bangladesh, energy is in crisis, but it's not that alarming. The reason why I'm saying it's not that alarming is we have solution in our country at this moment. So, energy as a crisis, instead of saying it is energy, we can find solution and it is a resource for us. And we would like to discuss about this topic today in our show. And to discuss our topic today, we have with us Dr. Ejaz Hussain, Professor Buet and energy expert. We have also with us Director GCM Resources and CEO of subsidiary in Bangladesh, Asia Energy, Mr. Gary Lai. I would like to start with Dr. Ejaz. When we talk about energy, as I was saying, we talk about crisis as well. And currently this crisis is at its peak, I would say. And this has been there for the last 10, 15 years. So why are we still continuing with this crisis? And why aren't we able to come to a solution?
Thank you. To explain the crisis in Bangladesh, I have to start with, what is energy? In many people's mind, energy is a power plant. But that is not energy. That is a factory, let's say, or a plant to convert a primary energy into the secondary energy which we use, electricity. The problem is that in Bangladesh, we've been suffering from the crisis of primary energy. Now, primary energy is either coal, gas, oil. It could be nuclear, it could be hydro, whatever. But in Bangladesh context, it's one of the three. Now, every time our politicians talk about energy crisis and all, they talk about building 5,000 megawatt, 10,000 megawatt, and we, the analysts and experts, we've been telling the government, for God's sake, talk about the primary energy. If you have the primary energy in the country, building power plants is no problem. People are going to rush in. And we have noticed that even Bangladeshi entrepreneurs have become mature in the country, that given the primary energy, they can generate their own electricity. Today, if there was enough gas, coal or oil in the country, there would be no crisis in electricity. So that is the fundament. But the politicians always try to avoid that because solving the primary energy crisis is big, is difficult. Exactly. So they always talk about the secondary energy, electricity, which is easy because they build a power plant. So what this government has done to avoid this problem, what they did is they took the simplest solution available to them, which is import oil at a very great expense to the nation, put the country into great stress financially, economically, and they built 2,000 megawatt. So right now, these sort of, let's say the comfort that we are enjoying in terms of having enough electricity is coming at a great cost to the nation. Now, I said I do not blame the government for doing quick rental oil-fired power plant. I support that as an interim temporary measure. But within this time, they must find a good source of primary energy, be it gas or, in Bangladesh case, coal.
Okay. So now that you have mentioned this as gas or coal, it could be an element to produce electricity, right?
Absolutely.
So as we know, GCM is there for many years in Bangladesh. So you are also concentrating in coal mostly and coal mining. What is your point of view with regard to the electricity?
I totally agree with the good doctor here that it is a matter of trying to solve the right problem for Bangladesh, and energy is the main problem. Power is an outcome. And I've got to say that without asking you to turn around, but I've been staring at your beautiful wall here, and the solution is sitting there. I mean, there's great piles of high-quality coal. And this is what is available through our Phulbaric coal project development. We have been operating in Bangladesh since 1998. So we would be at this stage, I believe, the longest-serving foreign investor in energy. Some have come and gone, but we are still here. And
so what made you stay here still? As in, why did you pick Bangladesh? That's my first question. And what made you stay here still?
Well, we had a contract assigned to us from the mining company BHP in 1998 by the Bangladesh government. And this contract is why we're here. We're here to explore and mine coal in this country.
Okay.
And we're very focused on that. We've done a feasibility study based on an exploration program we conducted in 2004-5 in the Phulbaric coal basin. We found 572 million tonnes of high-quality thermal coal. This can generate up to 4,000 megawatts of power for this country over at least 30 plus years. There's upside to that as well. I believe in that area, Phulbaric alone can go for about 50 years.
But when you're saying that, these are like benefit for our country for sure, like it can go up to 30 years, you're saying. But there are groups who are saying that this Phulbaric project can be a negative thing for our country, for our economy. What do you say about that?
They're absolutely misled, misguided, perhaps believing too much of the propaganda and not understanding the facts. I mean, I'm warmed by the fact that the government's own appointed Coal Policy Technical Committee recently came public and announced that it's done its report on looking into the coal sector development for the country, and have come to the conclusion that open pit mining of the Phulbaric coal resource is the way to go. And what it does is deliver a large quantity of coal per annum, as I said, enough to fuel thousands of megawatts of power. And so where is the loss to Bangladesh in this? I mean, Bangladesh is, I believe, poised to be, as many have said, the next tiger of this part of the world. But its fundamental problem is lack of energy. I mean, recently the Japanese government were talking with the Bangladesh government, and they're pledging to provide all sorts of assistance in the area, but they cited the biggest impediment to growth of Bangladesh, and certainly investment in Bangladesh from foreigners, is the lack of energy. And they got it right, not the lack of power, the lack of energy. So with the Phulbaric coal project open pit mining operation, what Bangladesh gets out of this is access to a large volume of coal, large volume of coal to produce power. It gets the biggest regional development project that's ever been undertaken in this country. It will see one of the poorest parts of Bangladesh, which is the newly created Rangpur division, become vibrant. Let's face it, I mean, what will happen is that there'll be industries developed around the power that's generated from Phulbaric coal, locally as well as nationally. That region at the moment has no industries apart from agriculture. So it will see an industrial revolution both locally and nationally. But for that part of the world, they'll have access to nearby markets. I mean, India surrounds them in that part, as well as with the upgraded rail corridor down to Mongla Port, they'll be able to export their products.
So you're saying there will be a positive shift to that side of the economy. If I come to Dr. Ijaz regarding this, so can you tell me, like this Phulbaric project, you have some point of view from your side, and part of government's point of view as well. So why don't you shed some light on this topic?
If you notice what has happened in the last, let's say, 6 to 8 years, it has become a political football. So it's really gone outside the realm of rationality, outside the realm of technical debate. It's now become packed with emotion, and because when it gets packed with emotion, a lot of people put in their views and things like that in it. Now, if you note that the previous government, the BNP government, was absolutely, I mean, everything was, they wanted to mine the coal, and we were thinking the coal would be coming out in 1 to 2 years when that big tragedy happened. Exactly. So they were absolutely for mining. There's absolutely no question about it. And I know the people in this present government, I know the caretaker government wanted to pass the national coal policy, but their top leaders at that time, they did not, they thought it was too political, they backed out. But the coal policy was ready. And it came, and this government inherited that. They started working on it. And I can absolutely say with certainty, including our Prime Minister, that she and her government wants to mine this coal. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Okay. So from all the government's point of view, there is an intention to mine the coal, because they are the people running the country. They are the people who know what the crisis is about. And they are the people who know how much we need this coal. But the but is that if you have a very active political resistance, an activist group objecting to this, then it becomes whether the government has the political will to be able to tackle this and move forward.
Okay.
So the issue now lies in what is the political will of the government to be able to, and that's why they're trying to get this committee and all to put a neutral stance on this, because you see all the good reports we have in the country, they may be perfectly good reports, but they have come out of one company, and that company has a stake here in terms of they've come to make profit or this, that, and everything. So that's fine, they will give that. What the government failed to do is that within this time have their own report, or to have a absolutely independent, neutral report of their standard in the country. Okay. See, the committee which worked right now would go a bit further.
Okay.
They actually do some primary work and give the report in, maybe not in 6 months' time, but in 1 year's time, to actually tackle these sort of the
resistance,
the absolute technical, the negatives which are coming out from these people,
okay,
so that we could put this to rest and move ahead. Even then the government would have to show some political will, but at least the government would have had a sort of an independent evaluation.
Okay. So from an expert's point of view, you are saying that this is a solution for us. Phulbaric coal mining is actually a solution for this energy crisis at this moment.
Absolutely. I mean, because we have we've sort of hit a wall with our gas resources.
Exactly.
I do believe that we have much more gas, but I do not believe the Bangladesh government, with their policies and the way they're going ahead, they will be able to get it very soon. It will take a long time. So what it will do is that it will be able to only meet our incremental demand, very little, and maintain our sort of whatever present demand we have for a maybe slightly longer time, maybe 10 years. So the only other option is coal.
Yes. Now, Gary, the project that you have, coal mining,
yes,
what are the, if I want to know, straight benefit, what are the benefits that we are going to get, as in Bangladesh will get?
Well, we went over this just before, but the primary benefit is the availability of coal. I mean, this is what the country needs. I mean, it needs the coal to generate the power.
But while you are mining this coal or extracting
Yes.
the coal,
Yes.
the people who are living there,
Yes,
you have rehabilitation program for that?
correct. We have done a very extensive environmental social impact assessment on this project. Had international experts involved in this, as well as the ADB's own experts involved, scrutinising it and being involved in the resettlement plan preparation. We've had it internationally reviewed, and it's been signed off. And this is a serious attempt by our company to make sure that every aspect of environment and social management is implemented correctly.
Okay.
And of course, when it is implemented, there are international community panels that are actually associated with this. So there's international scrutiny actually going on as the project is implemented. Now, for the local people, what they get out of this is full compensation, value for their land if there are landowners. They get access to new housing in town, or in a new town development, or in new villages around that project area. They get availability of water. There's piped water and reticulated water that they've never had in the township, as well as the villages surrounding. There's water made available free for irrigation for the farmers. They can irrigate all year if they wish. And there's water available for industries, water available for the power station, the environment, etc. This project delivers huge benefits, but on top of that, there are 20,000 jobs created directly and indirectly out of this.
Okay.
And with the local people, the ones that are actually on the project itself, in their surrounds, there's preferential employment opportunities, training, livelihood restoration programs, funds that look after people until they're well and truly back, not only on their feet, but actually have an improved livelihood.
Okay. But when we are talking about the extracting coal or mining coal, there's one thing that, open pit mining
Yes.
and then underground mining,
Yes.
right? So there's also a debate with that.
The nature of the coal deposit is what largely determines everything about how you mine it, from the economics to what you have to do in terms of managing environment, etc. Now, in this case, Phulbaric has in its basin 5 seams, of which 2 account for 90% of the coal. These are very thick seams next to each other. In fact, they can be considered as one seam.
Okay.
We have done our studies looking at all methods of mining applicable to this, and the feasibility study came up trumps for open pit mining. And we have looked at what underground mining would do versus open pit. Open pit mining allows the environment to be better managed. It allows people to be resettled more comfortably. It allows the land to be restored properly, not have depressions from ground subsidence associated with mining. We put the ground surface back by backfilling the mining operation after the coal's extracted progressively. So the land is returned to agriculture, or perhaps the people may wish a more elaborate, higher valuating situation. Maybe some industries develop on that land.
I would like to have your point of view on this, the open pit mining and the underground mining. Which one you would suggest?
Okay, as an energy analyst, somebody who's looking at the energy situation in Bangladesh, I am really concerned about where our primary energy will come for in the next 30-40 years. When you evaluate that, and the fact that in Bangladesh, to keep a competitive edge with the rest of the world and also to help local industries develop, we have to keep energy costs low. So if you want to keep energy costs low, you need a lot of coal. Okay, you cannot. The problem, we had a very, very bad experience with underground mining in Boishakhi. Okay, the whole coal mine was developed probably for extraction of 18 to 25% year, but now they're saying they won't be able to extract even 10%. And right now we are at the 8% level. So imagine there's so much of coal, and we are only extracting 8% of the coal. Okay. So that's a really shame. Plus, we are paying the price of land subsidence. So it's a kind of double jeopardy for us. Now, so if you look at it from that point of view, that we would get much, much, much more coal from an open pit mine, I would definitely support an open pit mine over there, even if it involves sort of associated risk, which I believe as an engineer can be tackled.
Okay.
I mean, but if people question the integrity of what can be done, and if there are problems, then like I said, you need a third party. You need absolute independent evaluation of what is being said, or even some trial tests and things like that to determine what are the sort of debated items in this whole discussion.
There is a concern from the government that
Yes.
the water level and the aquifer we talk about, there will be a disturbance to some extent.
Yes.
So what do you think about this? It's open pit. If we go for open pit, there might be some problem with the water level and water management.
I'll couch my explanation in terms of the Dhaka water supply. Dhaka water supply, with its extracting bores, its deep tube wells, is pumping out more than 10 times the amount of water that we'd handle at the Phulbaric coal project. More than 10 times.
Okay.
And do you see a desert around Dhaka? No. The area around Phulbaric itself, in fact the general northwest, has hundreds and hundreds of tube wells, including Barapakura's power station as a field to the north that's been pumping out water for the last 10 years plus. The issue is what you do with this water. Now, we have a water management plan based on extensive studies. I mean, of the 230 reports that we've done to build up towards our scheme of development report for the government and our feasibility study, 27 of these reports are individual studies dealing with the water management. And on top of that, we engaged international experts to review all this work and refine it and work with us during implementation. So we have a solution to this, and that solution is simply pumping water from the ground around the mining area, distributing that water to community, as I said, for town, villages, etc., irrigation in particular, and industries, but putting about a third of that water back into the ground. And what you do, if you imagine your table there is in fact the mining area, at a distance of a few kilometres away from the mine, we ring this area with bores, with holes. And about a third of this water, as I said, goes back into those bores and infiltrates back into the aquifer. And so for the area away from the mine, the water table in the aquifer stays.
All right.
Exactly. And this is a proven technique. For instance, the best example of what Phulbaric will be as an open pit mine is in Germany, in Cologne. The operations of RWE Power International are huge brown coal open pit mines with thousands and thousands of megawatts of power being generated. I mean, there's a model for Bangladesh. The difference is that Over there, the volume of water they're dealing with their mining operations is actually more than double Phulbaric. So Dhaka water supply is more than 10 times. That's more than double. But the ground conditions, the aquifer sequence, the coal situation, it's the same as Phulbaric, except a little bit thicker, a little bit deeper for the German situation. So ours is easier. So looking at what they've done is a good example. And I want to say that the number of high-level government officials that have been there include the current Minister for Environment and Forests, the State Minister for Power and Energy, the secretaries involved in power and also energy, the chairman of the Power Development Board, the whole of the Parliamentary Standing Committee for Power and Energy have all been there, plus other officials including intellectuals and various media people. And everyone has come back saying this is completely manageable.
It is manageable, and the experts are there to solve the problems.
The thing is that, Asia Energy is saying it is manageable. Unfortunately, doesn't work in Bangladesh. If it did, then we would be able to move out of this problem and get ourselves out of this.
Definitely, we could find a solution.
They have done their business. They have done their bit very well and all. It's a very good report. But the problem is that if the government cannot get the people to accept that report, if there are questions here, then you need a third-party independent evaluation. It happens all over the world. I mean, this is nothing new. And you have this kind of people in the Netherlands. There are groups in the university.
In fact, with
in
some
MIT,
other
there is and all. So the government can gather more material on this here to counteract the objection. Now, what Gary said is absolutely fine from an engineering point of view, but even engineering points of view can go wrong in real life. So those can happen, but the actual basic facts of the water modeling has been done and this, that and all, those need to be checked. Unfortunately, we do not have that kind of expertise in the country to be able to evaluate that report totally to say that yes, it can be done. Now, one interesting thing about the aquifer, and as an engineer, is very interesting. I even feel like laughing. There are a lot of people who think that underneath the coal, this aquifer, they think it's a kind of a lake.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Now, I tell people to understand that in a geology, you cannot have water underneath a overburden. It's impossible. You can never have water. The water is actually in the rocks, in sand.
Okay.
There's no aquifer in the sense
there's
that
nothing like a lake or ocean under
because,
that lake.
You think about it, there is a soil over there, and if the soil is there, if there's water, would it press on this, and wouldn't this move out?
Exactly.
So is it possible? Is it ever possible to have? So
that is the point of view that we have, a wrong perception.
That is the image which people have built up, and it's so difficult to talk to these kind of people when they talk site. And I'm an engineer. How will I explain? Look, believe me, I am associated with petroleum engineering and all. The first time when they showed me a rock and they said, look, the oil is in this, I said, I'm an engineer. I said, you must be kidding. You must be joking. I don't believe you. Believe me, it's a rock. If I showed you the rock today, where which is oil bearing or gas bearing, I can assure you nobody in this room will believe, yes, all the gas is over there in this rock, and it comes out.
Okay. We are actually running out of time, but in short, if I ask both of you, then what is the exact thing? We can understand that there is solution in our country and there is solution right there, but what is the exact thing you expect from our government?
Okay. We need an approval for this project. I mean, we've had our scheme of development on the government's table since October 2005. It is well overdue, and we've had no official communication with us, not one single question coming from the government regarding the scheme of development. But we know where it is. It's actually sitting on the Energy Secretary's desk. It was passed on from the Bureau of Minerals Development Director, who was our contract administrator. We know where it is. We don't know the reason why it's not being approved. However, under both the law, the mining law of the country, the mines and mineral rules, and our contract, it is the proponent that the government requests to do the studies. It is the proponent that has to furnish these reports, scheme of development, to the government. Now, I agree that an assessment should be done. I mean, we welcome that. And why it hasn't been done to date is a mystery. But look, for the country's good, decisions on coal extraction, particularly Phulbaric, should be made without haste now. There's been enough time, enough debate. The government itself is talking about open pit mining at Boishakhi. My last word, the project is a great project. I wouldn't be here for 8+ years on this project if I didn't think it was exactly the right fit for the people and the government of this country. It will deliver huge benefits. It will help go from the big pile of coal to the big power station very, very quickly.
Sir, if you would like to add something to that.
Well, my personal comment is that unless Bangladesh can get a cheap source of gas or coal internally, they will not be able to solve the energy crisis. And this will persist for a long, long time. This talk about imported coal is all very good, but it can take us to another 2,000-3,000 megawatts maximum. And again, we do not know how the price of coal will internationally traded would be. And one estimate says that it will come close to $170 if we use imported coal. That will certainly drive up the cost of energy in Bangladesh. More importantly is that supply disruptions and other problems will persist, and we do not know what the world will look like in 10-20 years. So if you don't have a good source of domestic energy, I think that you will have a lot of difficulty in maintaining economic growth in the country.
May I just say one more thing? We have also written a letter to the Prime Minister recently offering an equity position in the project. In other words, a free carry equity position in the project in addition to whatever coal royalties we pay, because we genuinely do want to have the government working with us on this project, a true partnership. And we are making provisions to look after local people. It's a partnership with them as well. I think everybody out of this will be a winner.
Well, thank you very much, sir, and thank you very much, Mr. Gary, for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, as we were discussing, this is a long topic, and we can go on discussing about the same thing. And this problem has been there, or this crisis has been there for last, as we were discussing, 10, 20, 15 years. But we couldn't come to a solution, and it's high time for us to find a solution and avail that solution. And I would request our government and the people who are taking decisions to move forward and come to a solution so that we as general people can live happily in our country. Thank you very much.